Hello and welcome from Master Coach International. My name is Coach Tom. Today's presentation is on getting your client to think for themselves by using self-directed learning. You know, it really should be the goal for every coach to get their coachee involved in a self-directed learning process. If this is not what is happening, then it's probably not coaching as well. So let's find out a little bit more what is meant by self-directed learning, as this is a very important and key element for any true coaching to happen. According to Gibbons, self-directed learning is any increase in knowledge, skill, accomplishment, or personal development that an individual selects and brings about by his or her own efforts using any method in any circumstances at any time. Wow, so what does that all mean? Well, there's a lot there. Basically, though, what it's saying is that we need to provide a means through our questioning and our conversation that we're having with the coachee for them to be able to explore their own strengths and possibilities. We need to encourage the coachee to find what their own resources are that they have within themselves and what their resources are outside of themselves that they can use to reach their goals. As well, it is not the job of the coach to think for the coachee. We as a coach need to be able to provide a means and a process that will allow the coachee to use their own strengths and use their own brains to think for themselves and come up with solutions on their own. Because the solutions that they create in their own minds will mean much more to them than anything we could ever think up for them. Now, this is quite a difficult thing for many coaches to be able to handle, and also for a coachee to handle. They may not have had the experience of self-directed learning very often, so they may not have the confidence. So let's go over a few things that can help us when we are encouraging self-directed learning in our coachee. First off, we can encourage self-directed learning with the types of questions that we ask. Of course, we should not be asking any kind of leading questions or questions that may show that we think we have the answer and we're trying to lead them in a certain direction. The coach cannot have an agenda to what they are doing when they are coaching. Rather, the coach needs to help the coachee develop their own agenda for what they want. Therefore, the questions that a coach asks are very specific. They are usually looking at the future. They are looking at a vision. They are defined by the goals that the coach and coachee have decided upon. So there is actually a lot of structure to what is going on when the coach is asking questions. A coach should ask questions that are probing what the coachee is thinking and how they're thinking and how they're moving towards a solution. This creates a momentum that goes on in the coaching process, in the conversation, and it really gets the coachee to think closely about what they really want and how they're going to get there. And then it encourages them to come up with solutions on their own. And this is self-directed learning. So remember, as a coach, we do not give advice because this will discourage self-directed learning. If we start giving advice or start, mentoring or teaching, the coachee will begin to become reliant on our advice, and they will not take the chance themselves to develop their own ideas on how to move forward in their situation. This can be one of the most difficult aspects of coaching, especially for new coaches. When you think you have a great answer to their problem, it can be very hard not to try to give some advice. But hold back, because once you do that, then you've let the genie out of the bottle, and the coachee may start expecting you to give advice from there on, and they won't take the chance to think on their own and come up with their own ideas. And when they stop coming up with their own ideas, then there won't be much meaning left to what you're doing. If you end up mentoring or teaching them, they may take the information and they may try to use it, and it might be useful, but it won't be their own solution. And when someone thinks up their own solution to their own problem, they will be 100 times more motivated to stick to that solution and how they thought up a way to get through it. So remember not to give any advice. Now, the next point that is very, very important is that self-directed learning requires a high level of confidence in the user, in the coachee. So you need to be able to be very encouraging and also very supportive in your role as the coach. When we are trying to get our coachee to think for themselves, we are asking them to take a big risk. Oftentimes, people may not have had the chance to do this very often, and so they might be very reluctant to come up with ideas on their own. We need to encourage them as much as possible and tell them that anything they come up with, whether it's right or wrong, is irrelevant, that they are going to be able to find their own path, and through a method of trial and error and our support as a coach, we are going to be able to come up with a great solution that fits them perfectly because it's theirs. So remember, all the time, you need to see your coachee as someone that is full of capability, that is full of potential, and you need to show them that you are confident in what they are doing and the risks that they are taking to improve themselves. Now, personally, one thing that I've found in coaching Thai people is that many have not had the chance very often to use self-directed learning in their educational history or in their profession. Oftentimes, it is up to the manager or the teacher or someone above them to make the decisions, and they rely on that quite often. They are not encouraged to think on their own. Although in many companies now, there is a shift and they expect the employee to think more on their own. So this can be quite a challenge for Thai people, but I have found that they can develop the skill of self-directed learning over time. And like I said, when you're providing lots of encouragement and you're getting them to be confident in themselves, and you're providing the tools and the good process that they can follow, then they will be more able and excited to use self-directed learning. So it's a tool that they need to learn how to use and that they need to practice and get used to using. And just like any other tool, it takes time to learn it. And once you've learned it and you can see the possibilities that it has, you can really move forward. So it's a very exciting thing, and it's a little bit scary, so make sure that you're extremely supportive and that the coachee really trusts that you are there for them and you are there for their best intentions, and that you are there to see that they make solutions that are really going to move them forward. Finally, let me just reiterate that a coach is there to facilitate the coachee's own personal learning journey. A coach is not there to teach. As a coach, you are focusing on the possibilities that the coachee has in their own learning, and you are there to help guide them through their own learning journey. You are not there to tell them what they should learn. You are there to get them to explore their own thinking and to really understand and grasp what their own capabilities are, what the best resources they have around them can do to help them move forward. If you can see your role as someone that is facilitating someone else's learning, but is not teaching them, then you are on the road to being a great coach. I really hope that you can take this last lesson to heart and that you hold yourself back when you feel like you need to teach someone. Instead, stop and think and believe in your coachee that they are capable of anything and that they can think up solutions on their own. When you do this, you will start becoming a real coach. Thank you very much, and I hope you got a little bit out of this presentation. And if you have any questions at all, you may email me at the email address below. I would look forward to any emails that you have, and especially if you have any special requests on coaching lessons, I would be more than happy to talk about it. So, for now, this is Coach Tom from Master Coach International, bidding you a farewell and keep coaching.